Thank you, everyone, for showing up to MacDevOps 2021. And thank you to our sponsors for making this happen. Thank you to all our speakers, attendees, everyone. To our volunteers for the MDM panel, thank you so much. I want to introduce to you Nayt, Allison, and Alex. How's it going, Nayt?
Good, how are you?
This is awesome. I can't recommend any medicine better for what ails us today in a pandemic than running a conference. You'll be giggling and laughing. The live production, behind the curtain scenes. This is what the people want. Allison, how's it going? Alex, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm having so much fun, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, it takes a village to raise a new generation of Mac admins, and MacDevOps is trying its best to help everyone out there by bringing the community together. I really appreciate it. We had to, work really hard to get this conference together and to get this panel together, and we've assembled a crew of people from around the world. We have many different countries, and Hawaii should be a different country, right? It's far away. Allison, you're very, very far.
I am, but it's nice and warm and stuff.
And Nayt, you're in Minneapolis?
Yep, right across from Jamf's headquarters.
Nice, nice. And Alex, you're in the great far north?
Yeah, if you take a pin and put it in the middle of North America, that's where Winnipeg is.
Winnipeg. So today's panel, we're trying to talk about MDM, and we chose this topic because it's something that has plagued Mac IT, Mac sysadmins for a long time, a new thing that Apple foisted on us a few years ago. And we've been struggling with it ever since. And we didn't imagine what would happen at WWDC because we don't know what's going to happen at WWDC before it happens. But apparently there were some changes this week. And so it's a lot to talk about. It's always a lot to talk about. But let's start with just going around the panel and talking about our MDM experiences. I will just go really quickly and say that I've been using simple MDM ever since I had to start using Kext whitelisting and that kind of stuff for my Macs. And normally I use Monkey and Monkey Report. And during the pandemic was the first time that I actually started trying to use MDM to deploy packages, because I'd just been dependent on Monkey. And I was quite shocked at how bad it was with MDM, at least the no feedback part of it. So that was, a kind of a shock, and always looking forward to how awesome MDM could be in the future. And this whole declarative MDM system is going to be different. But Nayt, what's been your experience with MDM?
I started with Jamf about 10 years ago and have been working with that Jamf for about 10 years. Recently picked up working with AirWatch about 3-4 years ago. So I work mostly in AirWatch and Jamf Pro and Jamf Now. And then in the last year, I've been diving headfirst into Intune integration. So those are the three that I mainly work on.
Wow. Allison, what's been your experience?
Most of my experience prior to the last, say, 2 or 3 years was managementless Mac support. And then in the last 3 years ago, started using Jamf. And then in my current role, I'm working with Intune as well as Jamf integration too.
Nice. Alex?
Well, I played around with Meraki a bit and whatever Jamf Now used to be when it was first launched. I really liked Simple, but I ended up standardizing all my clients on Mosel Business now.
Okay, so we got some good experiences across several different platforms. Nayt, in your experiences, what has MDM done well for you? Let's start with that.
It has made setup of devices way faster. I used to look at, setting up a Mac taking 4 hours, and now I can set up and deploy a Mac anywhere in the world without touching it in under an hour most of the time.
Nice.
Sometimes, even less than that, like 10-15 minutes. So it's made setting up systems so much easier.
You're talking about like DEP and Apple Business Manager, that kind of thing?
Yep. And also just scripting and stuff. Being able to deploy a script to a system and have it go ahead and do whatever it needed to do.
Nice. Allison, what has MDM done well for you?
In addition to what Nate said, being able to get information back. So being able to actually see what people are using, what versions of stuff they're on, and getting useful information that may be problematic for individuals to actually get, especially non-technical individuals. It makes working with people that aren't technical and being able to automate things as well makes life a lot easier for the people on the other end of the machines. Instead of having to walk somebody through 8 pages of instructions, you can just say, go here, click a button, and now you've got Snagit on your machine or whatever.
Nice. Alex, what has MDM done for you lately?
Well, basically using the Eric Gomez install applications stack to be able to drop ship a computer to any client anywhere. And as long as I've already done all the, if they're on my system, the computer can get managed right away and I can get into it. It installs my tools using Monkey. But some of you were talking about you get good reporting back from that. And Matt, you said you didn't quite. I mean, when you open up Mosel, and I'm not even sure what you called the part that you click on to get an overview of what's happened, but it gives you this map with like 17 different colors and 23 different stages, and you have no idea which computer got what. Is it downloading? Did it install? If you ask the user, if you call them up, they say, no, nothing's happened here. So none of those colors mean anything, but Monkey and Monkey Report are rock solid at telling you what's really going on. So
yeah,
supplement all of what I do with, that Mosel gets things going, and Mosel can put PCP thingies on there that you can't do any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the critical functions, but the rest of what MDM does is an emerging field that I don't know that well and keeps changing before I can nail it down. So I don't know if I use it that much.
Yeah, I mean, running MacDevOps and being around other IT, I mean, I was inspired to start MacDevOps by a colleague, Brian Warsing, that merged Puppet and Monkey together. And I just thought everyone had to see what he was doing. Not that I wanted to use Puppet myself, because as a one-man shop, one-person IT setup, I don't like writing Ruby code personally. So I found, when I found Monkey, I was like, well, this is kind of like config management. You can say what you want and it makes it so. And then finding Monkey Report, I was like, oh, and I can find out if it actually did work. But, I mean, trusted Monkey, sure. But then the reporting is nice as well. And that was what disappointed me with MDM, not a vendor, but the protocol was that you weren't sure what was happening. But before we talk about the new stuff, let's talk about what we've added to MDM. So there's the MDM spec, but maybe our vendors add something different, or maybe we're using different applications. You mentioned installed application, Alex, but Nate, what are you adding to MDM, or what is your vendor adding that's making your MDM life better?
One of the big things that I usually add is cloud storage somewhere. Azure Blob Storage, AWS S3, something like that. I usually add it and augment the MDM. It's a way for me to take the logs back off of the devices and dump them someplace central that I can access. It's a place that I can store updates or config files that I can also push or pull to the devices that the MDM spec just doesn't allow me to do. So I usually add that to any MDM deployment that I'm working on in some form or fashion.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great extra piece. I played with Central for a little bit for a while, and that's nice because it can take logs from different things like Watchman or Monkey and take all that and put it in Elastic. And that's where I kind of got stuck, because moving stuff in Elastic is different. But there's a lot of great pieces in Central. But Allison, what have you added, or what do you see as a value add on top of MDM to make your life easier?
I think it's less what I have used, because most of the deployments that I've worked with have been fairly low low need, I suppose, like not doing a ton of over the top stuff other than just basic deployments and things. One thing that I wish that there was a easy solution for is patch management, because there's no real good, easy, integral way on the Mac right now to handle that.
You mean like application patching, not system patching?
All of the above, because there's not really a lot of granular control. And this is coming from having been a Windows administrator, so, which kind of takes the kitchen sink approach, but yeah.
Alex, you mentioned install application from Eric Gomez as something that, you know, was not sort of built into the MDM spec itself as something you're using. Are you using any other pieces or like Nudge or anything? Or
I don't want to get into Nudge and make people more upset with these warnings. So they can blame Apple, not me, for putting Nudge in front of them, is my policy at this point. The new stuff that they announced looks like we might have a way to do this going forward. But what I've been playing with recently is I think Justin Esgar had an inventory type of website subscription you could use to show clients their computer inventory. And I thought, well, I can do that. I can have FileMaker talk to Watchman Monitoring and just pop this up on a web page. And my clients like that, but one of them has a bunch of iOS devices, and of course those aren't in Watchman. And so I've been working on using FileMaker to pull the Mosel API to get the iOS information and pop that to the web page. So I'm about halfway through playing around with that, because I don't know how to let clients actually look at their own Mosel easily, because it's an incredibly confusing workplace to, you know, it has so many features and we don't want them changing anything. You know, managing their own stuff could be catastrophic.
yeah, are you letting clients look at their like Monkey Report business unit, like a segment of your Monkey Report? Are you letting clients into that? Like,
I'm using that to provide them with a static monthly report, but I'm not letting them log in live. I think Kevin Ginger has a methodology of letting clients log in live to see a fantastic amount of information from their MDM and everything else. It's incredible what he's done.
yeah, I know there's a lot of great tinkerers and builders in our community. Alex, you've done lots of great things, and you've done lots of great little quick talks as well. And it's great when we find out what people are building and sharing. Nayt, what did you think about the new things that were announced this week? Have you had a chance to look at it? It's a lot happening this week.
It's been a very busy week. I watched the keynote, and then I think I watched one of the enterprise talks that they gave. Some of the stuff looked interesting, but honestly, I haven't had time to do any of the in-depth videos. I've added them all to my to watch this weekend list.
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten super far in them yet.
Allison?
Same. I just haven't really gotten the chance. But it sounds like a lot of the stuff that's come out is more iOS focused, which, as with Apple, means that it will be on the Mac OS in a few years as the two platforms continue to converge.
Predicting the future
For better
of
or for worse.
Hold on to the train. Alex, have you seen any of the videos about the new MDM?
I watched a couple every day. I think the declarative, was it called declarative? That looked like it's only for iOS now, but maybe it would make things efficient enough for something like Mosel to do these patches in a timely fashion instead of who knows when it's going to hit the computer.
Yeah, Simple MDM had a good overview, as well as Jesse Peterson, contributor to MicroMDM, who's working on a fork of that. It has another more even in-depth technical overview. And the little that I understand, it seems like they're finally trying to address some of the issues that we've all had with MDM, that they're not really configuration management. MDM hasn't been able to let you declare, this is what I want, make it so, and keep making it so until it's so. And, you know, So the Apple Declarative Device Management, yeah, Simple MDM's got a great little overview. I'm sure every vendor will have a good little overview on their websites soon, if not now, talking about how, I think if I understand the mechanism is the devices will download a series of policies and they will evaluate on device, and then they'll check for new updates to that policy. But in some way, the mechanism is going to work so it's less server intensive polling the devices, but the devices will push up through a separate back channel of communication to the server. So, I mean, that's where I've been starting to put on Macs, even not managed by Monkey, just putting Monkey Report, because I just love getting all the reporting and I love having like inventory and all this other information. So it seems like MDM is slowly evolving to answer some of the things that maybe Windows policy, group policy administrators and other people have been used to, or people using Puppet or Chef or Salt or something, or Ansible, saying, this is what I want and make it so. But we'll see. We'll have to catch up on these videos and catch up and see how it evolves over the year. Nayt, any dreams for what MDM should be in the future, or what would make your life better?
Ooh, that's a really good question that I haven't given a lot of thought to. I don't know. Come back to me in 5 minutes. I'll probably have some deeper thoughts on like
what could make your deployments better. What's missing, right?
Yeah, on the Mac side, being able to take and get a device into DEP without having to take it to the Apple Store would change my life.
I think that's changed now this week. I think it's coming in the next, that you can do Apple Configurator, right? Is that what you understood?
I believe it will only be available for T2 and up Macs, which
yes, T2 and Silicon
are kind of dying, but
for
all of those devs that are clinging to their USB ports, yeah. Not that I've had that discussion a few times.
I feel like since the pandemic, and definitely since this recent chip shortage that's been going on, getting laptops has been find them where you can get them. And even with Apple. And so there's been a lot of just like buying them on Craigslist and stuff and getting them into an MDM, and having a way to get them into DEP and stuff will be great. And I'd love to have some other way of doing that, especially for some of the older systems. It's great that they're adding it to newer systems, but it'd be nice to add it to some of the older ones too. But
yeah, I wish Macs wouldn't last 10 years. It's like yeah, Allison, what would make your life better with MDM or deployments?
I'd honestly really like to see closer integration, and along with better documentation for said integration, with, in particular, like Office 365, but other like larger systems that are common in enterprise use, particularly regarding things like conditional access, because that has been my absolute biggest headache. Because even though you can integrate SSO with Jamf, you still can't use Jamf to control any sort of conditional access stuff. And having some less troubled way to do that without trying to get 4 different systems to talk to each other simultaneously, and I hope Keychain doesn't throw a tantrum in the process, would be really lovely.
Alex, what would make your life better?
Well, the day will eventually dawn, I suppose, that MDM will be able to do what Monkey and Monkey Report already do so well, because Apple seems to be winding down their capability to do what they do. And when we lose those tools, I will cry bitter tears, because they've worked so well. They've been designed by us, by people who really care about this stuff, and MDM is sort of being forced down from above, and you just gotta fit your squareness into the round hole of MDM no matter what. And hopefully it will be as easy to use a world as the Monkey Report world is.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up because, mentioning the community is we've built a place, a warm, comforting embrace, a community that will be there when you cry to hold you remotely in their arms while you're crying your sad tears, or also to build tools. So thanks to, Eric Gomez and everybody who's building tools, sharing scripts, and working together in the open source community. I mean, I built MacDevOps with a lot of help to help people to work together. I mean, everyone's doing amazing things. So coming together and talking, communicating, sharing, commiserating, you're not alone. There is a community and we can work together, share solutions, whether you're using Jamf, Adigy, Mosel, Kanji, whatever, if you're using Monkey, you're only as good as the person standing next to you, and they could be in Minneapolis or Oahu or Winnipeg or wherever. You have friends everywhere. We're, I think, a very supportive community, and I really thank you all for showing up for the MDM panel. Thank you all for showing up to MacDevOps, and yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
I love you, Alex.
You're the man.
I would fly to Winnipeg any day,
Secret
not
agent.
in a pandemic, but
Secret Agent X. You got to tell us when the next Secret Agent conference is going to be next year.
yeah, June 8th to 10th, 2022 is very possible, to be confirmed, but aiming for June. But yeah, there might be a possibility of probably the same week as WWDC, but it seems to be the only week we can get the conference center that we've been using. But I think we need to go hiking in the mountains and kayaking, and maybe just like, something to recover from the pandemic together. And maybe we'll follow along with what those doctors do in their conferences. They just go skiing and they just hang out in their low stress level. It's like de-stressing together. Although Oahu is a nice place too. Maybe we should go to Oahu. Allison will host.
There is Objective by the Sea. It's in Maui.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to come hang out.
Yeah, everybody, join your local meetup groups, find conferences, make the community happen, make the world you want. It's we're all getting older and grumpier sometimes, but it takes a bit of effort to build the community. But you can do it in your hometown, and you can do it in your city, in your state, in your country. And I love what we've done as a community. I really appreciate it. Thank you again, Nayt, Allison, Alex, and everyone else.